So when you're feeding fish, the first most important thing is that you know what a healthy fish looks like. So what we want is we don't want to see it go from the gill plate and then towards the tail. We don't want it getting thinner, but at the same time, we also don't want it bulging out. So these fish are actually pretty good, but they're a little bit on the lean side. So I'd like to feed them a little bit more. So the first thing we need to know is how much to feed. Now I typically feed fish about 5 times a week, so that's not quite every day. And the next thing we need to know is what to feed. So quality is everything. So fish keeping is 50% water quality and 50% food quality. Now this food is very good food, so I'm very happy with this. But the way that we want to feed this food is we want to put a little bit of food in and see all the food eaten in 30 seconds. And then over time, we want to be watching the belly of the fish. So if we see the belly getting too fat, then that means we're feeding too much, and then we slowly want to reduce the amount of food. And then in saying that, if we see them getting thin, we definitely need to feed more. So these fish are very distracted right now because we're in the middle of cleaning the tank. But typically we start out with a rule. For example, what the fish eat in 30 seconds. When the fish rush up and grab all the food, you want it all gone in 30 seconds, and that's just the start. And then as far as watching them over time, if you see the belly getting thin, then whatever you're doing, you have to do more. And then if you notice the belly getting fat, then whatever you're doing, then you need to do less. And if you just bring a little video down to the aquarium shop every now and then, we can look at the fish and just comment on whether they're getting too fat or too thin. So these guys look great, but they're definitely a bit... Now you can see this water's quite yellow, and that's what's called a Gilvan tint, which means that there's a very high amount of biological activity has occurred in this aquarium, and that makes the water yellow. So it's almost like the fish swimming in their own piss. So it's really important that you're changing water regularly enough, otherwise the quality of your fish will over time deteriorate. So in a normal situation, if you change this water every 2 to 4 weeks and you use the gravel cleaner, then that would definitely be fairly normal, but it's all governed by your water quality. So if you test the water and your water's good, everything's okay. But if you're doing a gravel clean and there's lots of crap coming out of the gravel, which there was in this case, then definitely increasing your water changes temporarily would help. And as far as your water's concerned, you really want nice crystal clear water. And if your water's not nice and crystal clear, then doing some extra water changes until it clears up is a priority.
Because that stuff there, that filter wall's all blocked up, so you're probably also losing a bit of water from it splashing out the top of that. So now that that's not in there, you'll probably find it won't quite burn through as much water because it's not splashing as much. It should be alright, yeah.
Now if you use these hydrometers, you really don't want to leave them in the water like that, because what happens is you get algae and stuff grow on the hydrometer and it actually doesn't work after a while. So I would highly recommend taking this out and then just using it when you need it, because when it's all dirty like that, it will not give you an accurate result. So the salinity of this water is 0.024, which is actually a very good salinity, but because there's no coral in this tank, I would tend to run it a little bit lower, because you tend to get less pathogen problems and higher immune systems and lower osmotic pressure. So if this was my tank, I would be very happy with this level, but I would probably drop it a little bit if I didn't have invertebrates, and which definitely you could add later on. And whenever you add fish, I like the salinity on the lower side, but when your tank is well established, I do prefer it coming up. Now the temperature is just a little bit cold, but that's probably because we just did a water change. The most important things about an aquarium is good surface agitation. So we need to make sure that we're pointing our pumps so they're aiming up, because we want to make sure that the surface is really well agitated like this, so we get plenty of oxygen in the water. Then down here, what we've got a skimmer. Now we're going to have to balance this skimmer. So whenever you just do a clean, you can't really balance it because you need time. You need to touch it and then leave it an hour or so, then touch it. But we really want that in the middle of here. And then when it changes color, we want it coming out into here. And then we want to clean this about twice a week. And even if that means just getting a bottle brush and cleaning the inside of this neck, this really wants attention once a week. But basically, if we open this tap up, then the water level is going to fall. If we close it, the water level is going to rise. But what you actually want to do is just close it a bit, then wait an hour, then close it a bit, then wait an hour, and you really want the bubbles here, and you want the white bubbles to stay in, and you want yellow bubbles to come out. And then that will work beautifully. So there's no pre-filter material in there because it was dirty, but I'm a big fan of polyfilter personally. If I was you, I'd have polyfilter in there. If not, filter wool is better than nothing. And we'll also give it a dose of some Easy Life, considering you've got some. This is pretty cool stuff. What this does is just help to drop out of solution what shouldn't be in solution, and keep in solution what should be in solution. So if we chuck some in now, it's going to make the water a little bit cloudy, but it will do good stuff. So I'm just going to go like that, and that's going to just help out, and it'll give the water a tight positive charge as well, which is very good for it. As the water evaporates, you can actually get a little top-up system to go in here, and then this, you can fill this up so it keeps the sump full, so you don't have to keep filling it up all the time. So one thing I would definitely consider doing is getting a top-up system. That way you can use this as your spare reservoir, so you don't have to keep filling up the water all the time, because that would really give me the shits. What we highly recommend on a regular basis is to grab your phone, make a video so we can see what's going on in the tank, and bring a water sample down to the shop so we can just guide you and tell you if anything does need work, which, mind you, at the moment, because of the terrible condition of this water, doing some regular water changes would be highly advisable. So if it was up to me, I'd probably do one a week until the water was nice and clear. But clownfish are very tough, so most saltwater fish are not going to handle this sort of environment, but clownfish are very tough, so you get away with a lot with these guys. And then if you did want a coral or anything, we'd have to consider a light, but that's definitely going to be helping out.
So pretty